So today we're gonna be looking at a pocket knife that you don't need, but you're gonna want. We're looking here today at the Benchmade Mini Crooked River folding knife. I see a ton of blades come through the Blade Boot Camp here at Gideon's Tactical. And I gotta tell you that when I saw that they were making a mini version of this knife, I pre-ordered and was super pumped, super excited for the blade for myself. Forget about the review, forget about showing you guys. For me, I was like, I am pumped about this blade, and this knife does not disappoint. And I'm super excited to show you what this knife has to offer. Because I have a lot of other knives. I have S30V, I've got stuff from, Benchmade and other big name companies with high quality, materials and design. But there is something about this knife that you may not need it in your collection, but you will want it in your collection. So let's break it down and see what it has to offer. So here we are back at the lodge, if you will, hanging out. Just, guys, I cannot get enough of this knife. Every person I hand it to, and I got a lot of buddies, that are into blades, a lot of it because of the channel, and, just talking about it, they see value, or they see, wow, I didn't even know they made knives like this. And I hand this to everybody, and they're just like, dude, what? This thing is sick. And really, as a little bit alluded to, kind of a blending. Blending of old school. Now this is a Buck 112 Ranger, custom in 5160 Boss steel. Super sweet blade. I will have a link in the description below for that as well. And I did buy this mini Crooked River. So I will have links in the description below over to Blade HQ and Amazon for all the blades you see here today. When you guys use those hyperlinks, we get a small kickback. Helps me get out there, purchase gear just like the blades you're going to see here today, so that I can do these type of videos for you and continue to make the content that we do. So thank you so much for using the hyperlinks that we offer throughout this video. But really being a blending of like old school like this and something that's a little bit more, new school, like say an Osborne from Benchmade or the Bug Out, something like that. So it's kind of this blending of the two worlds, giving you old school feel, new school steels, but still holding on to that kind of outdoors, camping, hanging out at the cabin, type of feel with the Mini Crooked River. So we'll dive more into concept and all that in a little bit, but let's go ahead and hit just some of the basics here with you as we roll in a bunch of just footage and just discussion points throughout this video here. So the blade itself, super cool. I love the ever so mild sweep up. So it doesn't feel like a really crazy like Persian, dagger or something, but it's not just like, a Buck 110, feel to it, or 112. There's a little bit of a difference there, and I really like it. So it's got this really long draw of a swedge, but very thick swedge, so it's not sharp up here at all compared to, just even to give you, this is the Bug Out here. You can just see there on frame. So, but just gives you that styling, which is super awesome. Satin finish on a blade that is going to be an overall length of 3.4 inches, actual cutting edge 3 1/4, saber grind, gotta love that. 90-degree spine up here. You guys like to ask me about that a lot. Now this was in the first production run, so this is 652 out of 700, so that's pretty sick. S30V CPM S30V steel, of course, made in the USA. So fantastic. Not only with that insane relief edge, and that's what we were just like laughing while we were carving out on our hiking trip, my buddy Brian and I, on how ridiculous the performance was on this. Very few knives will come to this level straight out of the box. So super impressed with that. The thickness all the way back here on the stock is 0.11 as well. And then you're getting a blade width, the maximum width here from edge to spine of 0.92. So just a great on this mini size. Now the full size will be that 4-inch. It's going to be a little bit more in price. We'll talk about all that in a minute as well. But yeah, just really a classic staying out from the crowd blade blade shape and size, but then on top of that, we're talking about amazing blade performance and great blade steel. So all of those really working together to give you a phenomenal blade that just really goes to town and will do anything you ask of it, from outdoors to around the home and everything in between. So let's go ahead and hit the action real fast. You know, you got those bronze phosphorus bushings in there. You know, nothing to write home about, but it is good, perfect centering, of course. Thumb studs on either side that are easy to purchase and open up like that. Nice pivot there, and then you got your axis lock. If you don't know anything about axis locks, they are great. I really like them. They're ambidextrous locks as well, so righties and lefties can totally disengage them. And you just have this little bar here that springs into place, locking your blade. Very solid. Zero play, left, right, up, down, and then very easy to then disengage. You just pull back. It's kind of spring-loaded there, so do that, and you can even whip it closed. So nice, smooth action. You know, with a lot on the market now giving you like ball bearings and that type of thing, it would be nice to see that. I can notice a difference between like a ball bearing type of blade that I own and some like, you know, Kershaw's, as well as even ZTs and that type of stuff, and other companies now that are starting to put ball bearings in their joints are a little bit quicker and smoother than these bronze bushings. They're classic, they're simple, but I would like to see possibly some upgrading in the future from Benchmade on some sort of non-assisted action, you know, ball bearing system would be pretty sweet to see in the future. But for what it is, it's fantastic, zero complaints. And awesome stop bar back there, massive, super huge, so the blade will hit that, really giving it some good strength on both ends with the axis lock and then with that nice stop bar. And now to really what I believe is just the coolest part of the blade is the actual handle and all that it has to offer. Just super, super cool. So what we're looking at up here is aluminum on this bolster up here, and then you do have this orange ring on the pivot on either side. I know the full size, if you go over to the Benchmade website, you can do customs and do different color rings and all that type of stuff. I'm sure that they will probably offer the mini in the future, but that is something to note with the full size. You could completely customize this. You could do G10, you can do blue ring and, you know, backspace or all that type of stuff. So I actually do not like orange at all on almost any product that I own. I hate orange, but for some reason with the wood and just the feel of this knife, I actually totally love the orange on this design. So super, super cool right there. And then that orange backspacer, just giving you a little bit of squared off jimping that just comes like a millimeter above the handle there. Doesn't affect the handle ergonomics in any way. And then you've got that diamond wood right there fitted into the handle with stainless steel liners that are milled out in there, just so you can see that. Really well done. And so I was actually expecting, when I first saw this hit the market, I was expecting this to be kind of heavy and, you know, be a little overweight because of the aluminum up front, the diamond wood, which is lightweight, and then the milling out of the liners. You're actually getting a really lightweight blade at 3.3 ounces on my scale for the size of being a basically 3.5-inch blade and a 4.5-inch overall handle. That's really impressive. So very lightweight. Anything under 4 ounces is something to write home about, and I will write home about it and write to you in this video about the weight. So as I said, 4.5 inches overall, and then you are looking at a handle thickness of 0.52, so just a hair under half an inch, and then you are looking at a handle width of 1 inch here from top to bottom. Filling out my large size hands, you can see there plenty of room to spare. A little bit of jimping that's just, again, like not even a millimeter above the spine there. That's not sharp at all, but just gives you a little bit of grip. Good cut in right here, just good sweeping. So it feels very natural, very ergonomic in the hand. Really like that aspect. My only critique, it's a very mild critique, but it is something to point out, is that the old buck 110s and 112s actually have better rounding on the sides. They're just they're radiused slightly better, whereas on the Benchmade it is just slightly more square. So that is something to note there. It's not bad, and particularly for mostly EDC or, you know, whatever. Even out in the woods, I didn't really notice it. But that is something that when I was holding, because I was just playing with both of these in my hand, the angles are all have a better radius and just rounder and smoother on the old buck knives than what you're going to get here. It is somewhat squared off. You know, there is like a secondary little bevel on all the edges there, so it's not just like a brick, but I would have liked to have just a slightly more rounding. Would have been awesome on the handle. Again, again, not a major deal or a deal breaker by any means, but it was just something that I kind of noticed in the design. So the pocket clip, not super pumped with. It's their Arrow or whatever you want to call it design. My least favorite pocket clip design in the Benchmade line. I way prefer either this style or any one of their loop over designs. Out of the box, it's going to ride pretty high. You're going to probably get about 1 inch, which is good. You know, if you're like out in the woods or something, you got gloves on, you can easily pinch it, pull it. It's kind of got an octagon or oval shaped lanyard hole there, not completely circular. Again, just super cool. A little bit standoffish and just kind of like, oh wow, I didn't, you know, it just looks different. It just looks a little bit different than just your average round lanyard holes. And so it is ambidextrous, so righties, lefties, you're going to totally dig this with the locking mechanism. The thumb studs is perfectly mirrored on either side, so that's all good. I'm not a fan of that pocket clip, and I will probably be swapping to a deep ride, and Benchmade will do that. If you contact them for free, they'll send you a different pocket clip, which I will definitely be doing in the future. So the price on this, and now we're going to kind of just discuss as well just why you may not need it, but you will want it. Obviously, if this video to this point has not explained and shown you why you wouldn't want this, I don't know how I'm going to convince you. Otherwise, you will want this knife. But this is a pretty penny, guys. I mean, this is $187. Amazon Blade HQ. Again, links below for all the knives I'm about to run in here along with it. And so for that price, I mean, there are plenty of other knives that Benchmade makes that will give you basically everything that this knife can do, just won't look as cool, and it won't have the flair and feel that this knife will. So just as an example, previously reviewed full-size Freak here. You know, I mean, this is going to give you a fuller, beefier handle if you're out in the woods. It'll probably overall give you a better like food prep and better like slicer than the Mini Crooked River here. The Mini Crooked River is a little bit thinner on the stock, so they're probably very competitive. But S30V steel, like 115 bucks, 120 bucks for the exact same basically performance, if not better in handle ergonomics, just because it's beefier and bigger for most tasks that you would put like a harder use knife through. Then on the flip side, if you're wanting something a little bit more compact, lightweight, and slim, which this guy's kind of in the middle, you know, it's not as big and beefy as the full-size Freak or a full-size Griptilian, and it's not as small and lightweight as something like this guy right here, the Mini, or I keep saying Mini, the Bug Out. But S30V, again, steel. This guy's going to come in at like 1.8, 1.9 ounces, going to be thinner, deep red pocket clip, but you know, same overall feel. Even a slightly thinner blade, very high grind, so again, very competitive in its blade performance. This guy, again, 115, 120 bucks, something like that. So, you know, I mean, these two blades here could basically do everything that this guy in the middle can do, just depending on what you want, for, you know, save yourself like 60 bucks. But none of them just have that awesome blending of like this old school feel, because there's just something so cool about these old knives. And it's probably because they were some of the first, you know, full pocket knives here in America that were mass produced, that lots of people get their hands on, that were good quality. And when you get this kind of iconic, classic feel mixed with new, you know, materials and blade, you know, action with the axis lock and steels, I mean, it just gives you something that is so hard to find on the market. And that's what the Mini Crooked River gives you, is something that's so hard to find, super iconic, super classic. And for me, guys, up until this point, if you were to ask me what was like your favorite, coolest blade, like just cool factor, fun factor that you own, I mean, it was the Benchmade Osborne 940 with the G10 and green standoffs. I mean, this thing is awesome, about 170, so a little bit cheaper, still S30V steel. This one was the coolest one that I had, just for awesome factor, you know, one I would never want to give away or get rid of. Now, the Mini Crooked River has taken its place by like a leap, not just barely like, yeah, they're neck and neck. No, this is like significantly cooler and significantly funner to pull out and use and just have a good time with. So this freaking blade, folks, you've seen it, we've broken it down. I hope that this video has just shown you what is possible out there on the market. Yes, it's a pretty penny. Yes, there are plenty of other knives that can do the same thing that this can, but they are not going to look and feel and just give you a sense of just epicness. I don't know, like, this knife performs, looks, feels, it's fun, it's awesome. It's a blend of both worlds, guys. Buy the knife. You will not regret it. So thank you so much for coming over here today, checking out the channel. I hope this video has just shown you what you don't need, but you will want. So check us out on all the relevant social media. That's a great way to see what's up and coming. Please subscribe, comment, like, share this video. If you are not a current subscriber and part of the GT family, I would invite you to subscribe and become part of what we do here. Participate with conversation, comments, and just hear what we throw up every single week. We're putting up new videos every single week, helping you guys to not only pick out great products, but see what else is out there on the market and spend your hard-earned money wisely. And finally, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. I'm going to see this blade out there.